Hello guys, thank you for watching Signs and Wonders. I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to say thank you so much to all my patrons, of course. Thank you to everyone who has supported me these last couple months. You guys are awesome. I'd like to say God bless you all and your families. And also, if you're new here, please subscribe. Thank you guys, and enjoy. According to a new survey focused on Christian eschatology, or the study of end times, almost 9 in 10 pastors see at least some current events matching those Jesus said would occur shortly before he returns to earth. I'm not sure what the other one guy was thinking. In Matthew 24, Jesus' disciples asked him about signs of his coming, and he responded by speaking of birth pains that would precede his return. The Bible has several lists of potential signs of Jesus' return, like the Olivet Discourse, passages of Matthew 24 to 25, Mark 13, Luke 21, and some include concepts of global sickness. Numerous biblical texts speak of disturbances in the creation that disorient and trouble people. These disturbances have quite a range, with earthquakes and wars being the most common. However, Jesus mentions plagues or pestilence explicitly in Luke 21. The idea of birth pains is not unique to the New Testament or evangelicals. Ultra-Orthodox Jews also believe that these signs are indicators of the Messiah's coming. They share a heightened messianic expectation with evangelicals. One of the signs of the Lord's return is that disasters will occur all over the world. Just as Matthew 24, 6-8 says, "And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places."
Quake struck near the town of Sivrija, that's about 550 kilometers east of the capital, Ankara. It was followed by dozens of aftershocks, some of them almost as strong as the initial quake.
An earthquake that was felt in Delhi and the neighboring areas, an earthquake of a magnitude, we're told, of 3.5 that occurred at around 5:45 p.m. This evening, so about 20 minutes ago, and we're told it was the epicenter of the earthquake was in East Delhi, of course. So these are visuals now coming in slowly that people have taken of the earthquake while it was being felt. As you can see there, buildings shaking.
4 countries are on the brink of famine. 20 million people,
Urgent
families
crisis
and children,
unfolding largely unnoticed by the rest of the world. Families and children at risk of starvation. In the first village, Heresies, the line begins early in the morning. They know the trucks are coming.
How many hours away
That would be like 2 hours, close to 2 hours drive, yes.
to get from the nearest water site?
Yes.
Here, it's not just the food they need, but water.
All these are the beginning of sorrows. In recent years, the disasters have been getting worse and worse all over the world. Earthquakes, wildfires, famines, and plagues occur frequently and are widespread. The world's in a state of constant upheaval and turmoil, with wars, violence, and terrorist attacks on the rise. For example, the coronavirus, which occurred in Wuhan, China, at the end of 2019, has spread to many countries around the world, causing a serious situation.
This virus doesn't discriminate. It attacks everyone.
I want every American to be prepared for the hard days that lie ahead.
The coronavirus has changed life as we know it across America. It's the first coronavirus case in the United States.
This is certainly not a moment for panic or high anxiety. It is a moment for vigilance.
Within a week, the CDC confirms Illinois, California, and Arizona also have cases. And on January 30th, Chicago witnesses the first person-to-person transmission in the country. And by March 8th, confirmed U.S. coronavirus cases reach the 500 mark. The World Health Organization then declares this 3 days later.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
The United States saw an outbreak of deadly flu, which resulted in many deaths. Australia's bushfires have lasted for several months since September 2019, causing significant damage and loss.
Among the worst in that country's history, with more than 12 million acres scorched, and officials are warning the next few days will be even worse.
Blazes a near constant threat for months.
Oh no!
Some people deciding to stay behind to protect their homes. In this dramatic video, a woman using only a garden hose fights back flames.
East Africa suffered its worst invasion of desert locusts in 25 years, which led to food crises in many African nations. The worst flood in 50 years hit Venice, Italy, with 80% of the city flooded.
All eyes were once more on arguably this city's most compelling building. St. Mark's Basilica sits at Venice's lowest point, and the fear was more flooding could again threaten a structure which had already been breached by water. We were taken in and downwards to the Basilica's oldest point.
You can see here we have the graves of the patriarchs.
The crypt where the tombs of archbishops going back centuries rest. Every one of them was submerged underwater after a near record high tide earlier this week. But it has happened again. Italy's culture minister tweeting these images saying no words are necessary for what's happening in Venice, just these pictures from St. Mark's.
You'll find remarkably philosophical people in Venice. Some told us we live with the water. Our ancestors, the generations before us, experienced flooding. But most will point to the fact this is 2019 when they say scenes like this should be preventable.
At the beginning of 2020, the most powerful blizzard in 100 years struck Newfoundland, Canada.
Locals say it's the worst they have seen in years. Heavy snow and hurricane-strength winds have prompted states of emergency in a number of communities, including the capital, St. John's. All businesses have been ordered closed, vehicles ordered off the roads, even snowplows have now been pulled from the roads and are on standby for emergencies only. This is how the fierce front looks from above. It is big and it is menacing. The snow has trapped people inside their homes. And all of this happened fast. This time lapse shows a car being almost buried in 6 hours.
At the same time, torrential rains flooded Indonesia. There were also earthquakes in the Kuril Islands, in Ilzik, Turkey, in the Caribbean, and near Cuba, and in other places too. The love of believers shall become cold. Matthew chapter 24, verse 12 reads, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." Nowadays, in all religions and denominations, believers in general lust for worldly things and take no thought to working for the Lord. Some of them are engaged in business or busy with making money. Some pastors and elders scheme against one another and have jealous disputes with each other. I've seen it in my own church. They even form like factions. They separate into their own cliques like high school almost. They steal offerings and commit adultery. The sad truth is, guys, followers are becoming colder and colder in their faith and love, and churches are becoming more and more desolate and empty now. The return of Israel. 1948, Israel was restored. Shortly after, David Ben-Gurion announced the establishment of Israel in Tel Aviv on May 14, 1948. Soviet Union recognized it quickly and set up an embassy there on May 26th. And later supported Israel in many ways. On May 11, 1949, Israel was accepted officially as a member of the United Nations with the support of the Soviet Union and the United States. Matthew chapter 24:29 says, "Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken." Astronomers frequently publish news of stars falling, new stars appearing, and regular sightings of meteor crashes. At 9:15 a.m. on February 15th of 2013, Chelyabinsk, Urals Federal Region of Russia, probably slaughtered that name, was hit by an asteroid, and a huge shockwave and explosion caused 1,491 people injured and plenty of glass broken.
The eyes of the world today stunned by this image. This was debris from a meteor racing toward Earth, streaking across the sky there, crashing into the ground in those woods. And look at some of the other images emerging tonight. The cloudy trail the meteor produced, and on impact, this, carving a little pool into a frozen lake. It's the biggest meteor in more than a century to hit the planet. This one crashed in Russia. 1,000 people were injured from shards of flying glass and debris. Tonight here, we have learned there was no warning.
Came out of nowhere. A bright speck in the sky, soon streaking across the horizon, followed by an almost apocalyptic scene, a blinding flash of light, and then all hell broke loose. Dizzying explosions shattering windows, knocking these office workers to the ground. These students were lucky, protected by curtains from the flying glass, and these men barely escaped the blast. In the streets, pandemonium. Terrified residents thought the world was ending.
Scientists estimated that the diameter of the asteroid was about 15 meters and that it weighed around 7,000 metric tons. This has fulfilled the prophecy, the stars shall fall from heaven. On May 17, 2016, a meteor streaked across New England's sky, turning night into day. And in January 2018, a super rare blue blood moon occurred in the sky. And prior to that, a series of rare blood moons appeared. All this has fulfilled the prophecy, fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. The appearance of false Christs. Matthew chapter 24, verse 23 to 26. Then, if any man shall say to you, see, here is the Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, so that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Why, if they shall say to you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. So as we know, guys, deception from false Christ has now occurred in the religious communities of many countries.
Jesus Christ is returned, but only this time in Brazil. For more than 30 years, this man, calling himself Henri Cristo, has preached his own gospel as the supposed reincarnation of Jesus of Nazareth, relocated to Brasilia. Born Alvaro Thais to farmers of German extraction, he made a first conversion in 1969, becoming Yuri of Nostradamus and styling himself a prophetic seer. A decade later, a vision revealed his true nature, and he changed his name from Yuri to Inri, son of God.
All these false Christs can do is perform magic tricks and preach some specious fallacies to deceive others. They simply can't express the truth to resolve man's problem of committing sins and then confessing and asking for forgiveness, nor can they save mankind from corruption. According to the prophecies of the Bible, when the Lord Jesus returns to do his work, there will inevitably be many false Christs and deceivers who will appear at the same time, trailing and disturbing God's work. The emergence of heresies. In Matthew 24, verse 4 to 5, we read, And Jesus answered and said to them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And now, many heresies and evil cults occur in the religious world of every country. They're popping up on YouTube and all over the internet. They have no truth in them at all. And most of them, guys, have to add or change the scripture to suit their agendas. And they can't supply believers with truth and life, much less bring people any edification, benefit, or most importantly, salvation. Now more than ever, guys, it's important that we recognize these crucial signs and wonders and stay strong in our love and faith and fellowship. If you guys are new here, please subscribe. And God bless you and all of your families. You guys have an awesome night, and we'll see you in the next video.